October 2006. I really wish I could remember what was going on in my life at this point in time, because back in September of 2006, I only read 3 books, and now, October 2006, 3 books. What was I doing? What was so important that I wasn't reading as much? I have no idea what it possibly could have been. So let's just jump in to the 3 books that I read in October of 2006. And the first one of those is Mad Dog Summer and Other Stories by Joe R. Lansdale. Now, I'm just going to read a little bit from the introduction here. And first of all, a little digression from the introduction. There was a story, this is a short story collection, obviously, Mad Dog Summer and Other Stories. So it says, there was to be a story titled The Senior Girls Bayonet Drill Team, and I really liked it. Through an amazing act of stupidity, when it was near completion, I deleted it and its backup from my computer. The wonderful thing is, that story was rewritten, recovered, started over. He says, I hope to go back and start over. I have a copy right over there, a beautiful hardback copy of another short story collection with that title, The Senior Girls Bayonet Drill Team. That's neither here nor there. I just thought that was interesting. So, but to let you know what this book is about, it says, this is my latest collection, and I'm proud of it. It covers a lot of ground, from stories of steam and vampires to stories of the Great Depression, an article about my mother, a story about my popular characters Hap Collins and Leonard Pine, a long novella about a team of superheroes rescuing the devil, a collaboration with my wife. There's also a mule napping. And that's hyphenated because it's on 2 different lines, and for a split second I was like, there's a story about a mule taking a nap, but of course it's a mule napping. So Mad Dog Summer and Other Stories, Joe R. Lansdale, it's fantastic stuff. It's Joe R. Lansdale. He's a master at the short story, one of my favorite short story writers. Love his novels and stuff. But absolutely love his short stories, and this is a good mix. It's, just from reading that little bit from the introduction, you get an idea of just the wide range of stories that he's telling in this book. And that's the first book I read in October of 2006. Also the only book I have to show you, although I would like to have these other 2 again at someday. I was going to say at some point, changed it to someday. Anyway, the second and penultimate book that I read in October of 2006 is A Dangerous Man by Charlie Huston. This is the 3rd Henry Thompson book, finishing out the trilogy. Difficult to say what it's about without giving away some of the things that happened in the earlier books. I can say in the first book, Caught Stealing, Henry Thompson gets caught up in one of those wrong place, wrong time, now he's on the run kind of situations. And that leads to the events of the second book, which of course lead to the third book. His life is falling apart essentially at this point, I can say that much. And he's had to do something to prevent something from happening in the previous book, which has led him to where he's at in his life. And he essentially takes a job keeping an eye on a minor league baseball star. And this is going to lead to the shenanigans that go on in this book. really just trying not to say anything that would give away the stuff that happened previously. But it's a fantastic book. It's a great end to this trilogy. The entire thing, which is caught stealing. Let me see if I can quickly find the title of the second book. That's not it. That's a different Charlie Houston book. Just start with Caught Stealing. I don't remember the next one. The second one, but then A Dangerous Man is the third one. Fantastic trilogy. A Dangerous Man, Charlie Houston. There you go. And then the final book that I read in October of 2006 was The Undead and Philosophy, edited by Richard Green and K. Salim Mohammed. And the subtitle for this is Chicken Soup for the Soulless. So, just like all the other pop culture and philosophy books, this uses the undead to, it does one of two things, or it does two different things. Ay caramba. Each essay, it's a book of essays, and each essay does one of two things. Either uses the idea of the undead to illustrate certain philosophical schools of thought or arguments, or looks at the undead through a philosophical lens. Hopefully that makes sense. So, things like, is it morally acceptable to kill the undead? And I do recall, the one specific thing that I recall is at least one of the essays argues that the infected in 28 Days Later should fall under the umbrella of the undead, simply because the people, while not literally dead, like a zombie, are so mindless with the rage virus. I almost said vaccine. A lot of vaccine talk still going on in the world, or at least in the United States. They're so mindless with the rage virus that they should just be considered zombies or the undead, because there's no personality. The person essentially has died. The body hasn't, but the mind has. Because I've always argued, mostly in fun, that when people say, the zombies from 28 Days Later, they're not zombies. Shoot them in the heart, they're going to die. Cut off their limbs, they will bleed to death. They doesn't take a bullet to the head. They're not traditionally nowadays what one would call zombies, considering traditional zombies used to mean something completely different. Speaking of, I've got my Brother Voodoo shirt on. Excuse me. Who has graduated to Dr. Voodoo. But anyway. The Undead and Philosophy. A great addition to the pop culture and philosophy library, and does make the argument that the infected in 28 Days Later are undead. And it's not just zombies, vampires. It says, I think in the back cover copy probably, that Bram Stoker coined the term the undead. I don't know if that's true. Let me know if you know that's a fact or not. But there you have it. That's everything I read in October of 2006. Just 3 books. Don't know why that's all I read, but that's it. Question for the video. What's your definition of undead? Do the infected in 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later and the upcoming 28... Is it months or years now? I can't remember. The new one coming up. Are they undead? Vampires, zombies, mummies? Mummies? Are they undead? Let's discuss it And what is your favorite type of undead? What's your favorite undead movie or book or TV show? Um, for me, well, I've already sort of have spelled out my thoughts on the 28 Days Later thing. But going by what they say, and I know other people have said it, if the personality is gone, if that no longer exists, are you essentially a zombie? I mean, we use the term sometimes, call people mindless zombies when they're just going through the motions, following the same thing. It's kind of the whole point of the original Dawn of the Dead, that the zombies are just, they're going to the mall because that's what they knew in life. And some people would say, well, those people that just, do the same thing over and over every day are just mindless zombies. So, should we be a stickler for what we call the undead and what we call zombies? Um, I've loosened up a little bit. I still prefer not to call the people in 28 Days Later, etc., zombies, to differentiate a little bit, because again, they can be killed just like an ordinary person because they're not a walking corpse. Um, and I kind of threw mummies in there moments ago without having actually thought about that before, but they are the living dead, right? They've come back from the dead. What else is there? Vampires, zombies, mummies. Can't think of any others off the top of my head. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe, all the usual YouTube stuff. If you'd care to follow me on other social media, I'll have links for my Instagram and Bluesky in the description below. That's all I've got. So, until next time, I really thrown off. I recently woke up from a nap, and I don't think my head is completely cleared. That's all I have for this week. So until next week, read more books.